Cape Crusader is the new Amazon Prime Batman cartoon. It's heavily inspired by the original Batman, the animated series, but it does change in many ways: character designs, writing styles, and the level of maturity that's displayed. The show's been received fairly well, all things considered, but there is some individuals who aren't happy, claiming it's a cash cow because it's a product of nostalgia baiting, profiting off the love of the classic cartoon. Today, I'm going to be looking at seeing if those claims have any grounds to stand on. So let's get on with finding out if the Cape Crusader is really worthy of its praise. I'm trying to get monetized. I need 1,000 subs, so if you can help me out, that'd be great. Thanks for watching. Nostalgia baiting is a marketing and storytelling technique where creators and marketers leverage nostalgic elements from the past media to extract an engaging audience. This technique taps into the audience's fond memories and emotional connections to old media, often by revitalizing or refreshing a beloved character storyline, styles, or aesthetics. X-Men 98 is a continuation of the beloved X-Men animated series, very relevant to the current discussion. This revival seeks to capture the essence of the original series while bringing the story forward. This show brings back the same characters, voiced by many of the same actors, maintaining continuity with the 90s series. The anime mimics a distinctive look, including character designs and color palettes. However, with today's technology, they do use a lot of 3D models and CGI. The effort made to make these models stay in the style of its source is clearly visible. This shows that the production and the cast have an invested effort to keep the style and tone of the classic show. This approach not only rekindles the excitement of fans who've watched the original series, but also introduces to new viewers to the same beloved world. This show has a lot in common with the Caped Crusader, so it'll act as a great comparison going down the line and set some of the key principles for keeping a show like this fully faithful. And I think we could probably break it up into 3 points. So let's see: faithful or respectful design, writing, and deliver something new. They have to deliver something new, and it mainly should come from the writing. This is because they have to deliver something fresh, otherwise we're just rehashing the past. So let's have a look at the Cape Crusader. The first thing we see, the opening, is an interrogation, immediately setting the darker tone compared to the original. It also reveals who the antagonist of the episode will be. Not everything about them, of course. We see a silhouette of the Penguin, probably Batman's second best known villain. Something to keep in mind, particularly in DC stories, we need to look out for the differences between these staple characters. Every version of Batman has the same villains and overall story beats. Due to this, writers often experiment with the surroundings and the cast. This saves them from having to change the main character of Batman and Bruce Wayne. It's the surrounding cast that will change the world around him. We know the Penguin, so why cover him up with his shadow? Because things, alas, are not as they seem. Then we get our first glance at Gotham City, and my first gripe. It's the 1940s, so we can expect to see very little technology. I love the design of the city. It's very akin to the animated series Gotham City, especially when you see the buildings in the background. We can see the intimidating style of two-tone skyscrapers that just scream, "This is Gotham." But my gripe is that I missed the blimps. They're such an iconic icon of the animated series. They added so much to the original, visually at least, displaying the massive crime problem Gotham truly has. The first look we see of Batman himself is very different to the original as well. We hear thugs discussing the boogeyman-like myth that is the Batman, only to see the myth come to life and put down the thugs. Batman's new design lends heavily to the classic comic book roots, while also staying in line with the animated series. This approach is great. It makes Batman feel intimidating and shows us, the viewer, why we should fear him. Keeping in mind that the entire reason he is dressed like a bat is to inspire fear in order to get information and hopefully dismay anyone from making any foolish crimes. However, this is really different to the animated series. In Batman's first appearance in that, he's being chummy with Alfred. This entire show, Batman is chummy with Alfred about one time. He also seems to be far more accustomed to being Batman than in the Caped Crusader. For quite some time, he exudes this level of familiarity and comfort that we just don't see in the new Batman, which makes sense when you consider that Tim & Co., the people who made the original series, said that this one is a spiritual prequel to the animated series. This is not going to be a well-adjusted Batman, a Batman who has his Bat family to lean on. This is fresh Batman, whose need for vengeance, or what he calls justice, is still an open wound. Oh, but this opening is amazing. It's really selling me on the noir style. Noir style. But still keeping a similar level of eeriness compared to the original. I love the opening. So in the animated series, Batman from day one had the Bat computer, which is this super futuristic AI computer that could give him any information he needed at any given time. There was no Bat computer in this Batcave, only a glass pane and some filing cabinets and a tubby butler. This is something even as a kid bothered me about the original. If Batman is the world's greatest detective, then why is the computer solving all the crime? This is a great choice, and if they want to write in the Bat computer later, that's fine too, but this way Bruce can prove that there is a reason that he is the Batman and no one else can do what he can do. I also love how this, the start of Batman's metaphorical journey, visually looks like a startup. I get really like startup basement vibes here. Just two bros doing stuff in the basement. But let's get back to the Penguin. The Iceberg Lounge is a yacht in this adaptation, and a comically large hat and umbrella is on the top of said boat. By the way, in true comic book fashion, it's a feckin' artillery cannon. I gotta say though, it's a little high tech for the 40s. But hey, this is a cartoon, I'll let it slide. The Penguin herself is not only the owner, but a performer on stage. She sings at Gotham's finest as she's hosting a police fundraiser. Her design is also very different to the usual short, fat, slimy man, with a beautiful contact lens that changes how his entire head is shaped. Oh god, I love this design. No, she's a large woman in both length and width, but still undeniably the Penguin. I've seen a lot of bad faith remarks about her character design, basically lumping her in with other shows or movies that have been hurt by the fact that Amazon needs to have people of different races and genders in starring roles. This has hurt many stories in the past, whether that's Disney not letting a single ginger white woman see the light of day, or Amazon trying to change fundamental and established plot points for the sake of diversity. At times, this need for diversity can hurt the story. However, this is not like that at all. I'm sorry, but have you ever read a comic book, and a DC one at that? Within DC, there is all times multiple continuities of the same character. The DC Universe's comics are both carried and crippled by this fact. It allows them to explore characters in ways that they never would have been able to before, while keeping them all canon and allowing them to interact organically by putting them in separate universes. And oftentimes, all these stories, DC suddenly decides we need a bit of a reboot, so they do the Crisis on Infinite Earths storyline. They've done it a few times now. Because of this, we get to see so many different versions of the heroes we love, whether that's a black Superman for Earth 2, or a racist Aquaman in Flashpoint. Also, Bat Daddy in Flashpoint. Yeah, Bat Daddy. This is why I love DC Comics. There's always something new to see and to experience with each kind of Superman, Batman, or the Penguin. These changes, as long as they pay respect to what came before, either in personality, writing, or character design, they're okay in my book. By the way, this Penguin is a psycho. She kills her own son because she thinks he's ratting her out, only to find out that she killed the wrong son, and then, without second thought, tries to kill the new son. Damn, this lady is ruthless. There are many other characters in the story that have been changed, but only ever slightly. And honestly, as a Batman fan, it kept it more interesting because they change how a certain character becomes their evil alternative. But it also explores really underdeveloped characters that, to be honest, I never really knew the backstory for, even though I've read many iterations of the Batman. For example, Catwoman is a bratty rich girl and is also the first villain that is created because of the Batman, foreshadowing what is to come for sure. But it shows an inexperienced Catwoman who fails time and time again to escape Batman and his justice, which is kind of her whole stick, is being the one that gets away. And another example is where we see the origins to a new Harley Quinn. She's no longer dragged to a life of evil doing by the Joker. Instead uses her pre-established background in psychology to brainwash the evil men of Gotham, making them give their fortunes to charity, creating a somewhat sympathetic anti-hero. I was gonna make a comment about how they're all guys, but this is the 1940s, so yeah, that makes fucking sense. These changes to the story and characters only make the experience more refreshing for me, as someone who has seen 5 other Batman cartoons and 15 Batman movies. I know beat for beat the basic storyline of Batman, don't get me wrong, The fact it made these changes, and it's all in respect and to pay homage to the original legacy of the animated series, yet can still deliver something to me that's genuinely fresh and new, is pretty amazing. The first show I ever watched as a kid was Scooby-Doo, but right after that was the Justice League and Batman the Animated Series. That show meant so much to me when I was younger, and I'm very happy with this reimagining of Batman's origins. But let's go back to the list and see if the Cape Crusader passed all my checks. A faithful or respectful redesign. There are many major changes to design of the character. However, nothing so drastic that it really affects or offends the original feel of the show. Out of all the Batman cartoons I've ever seen, this is the closest to the animated series for sure, and probably one of my favorites, if not my favorite. Although there's always gonna be a place in my heart for Batman the Brave and the Bold. When I was 13 years old, it was my guiltiest pleasure. Faithful and respectful writing. Its writing style is very similar to the animated series, but it does have more mature themes. The first episode, for instance, 3 people are killed before the halfway mark. In the animated series, no one dies in the first episode whatsoever. Honestly, I can't remember if someone dies later on down the line. Probably, but in the first episode of the original series, not even the evil mutant bat dies. This more mature setting, however, suits the theme, in my opinion at least, due to the fact that it's meant to be a spiritual prequel to the original, so we're talking about a fresh, hate-filled Batman, without his cheery Robin. This is why we see an absence of Batman's usual banter. It's completely missing. It doesn't exist. That's why a darker tone suits. This is Bruce acting alone. He hasn't opened up to anyone yet, and for that reason, I say it passes this check. Deliver something new. I spent most of this video explaining why it delivers something new through its new character origins and minute changes to other characters. This show personally brought something new to me as a viewer. So in my list, I say it passes. I'm trying to get monetized. I need 1,000 subs, so if you can help me out, that'd be great. Thanks for watching.